Good morning, sunsets.
Good.
What's for breakfast?
Pop-Tart. Yum.
Yum. How was your night last night?
We were pitched on a little bit of a slope, so I was a little restless. Kept rolling into my wife.
Welcome to day 4. We just saw White Rock Mountain. It's 0.3 off the trail. Absolutely gorgeous this morning with the clouds. Thanks, Stu, for that tip. Definitely worth it. Looks like a beautiful day today. We have 8.5 miles to do, and we're being picked up at noon by my friend Steph. So there is a 10-mile walk through Franklin. It's a road walk, and lots of people skip it. We're choosing to skip it. So my friend is picking us up at, I believe it's Hickory Knoll Road, right where the road walk begins. And she'll take us into Franklin tonight to a cool hostel we know. And we'll stay there overnight, take showers, do laundry, resupply, eat, sunsets, and yeah, get refreshed. We might get some new air pillows because ours have holes in them. I patched mine okay, but Greg has a slow leak in his, so it's kind of annoying. He has to wake up and blow it up in the middle of the night. And we just discovered our rain fly of our new tent has some holes in it. Well, we bought it used. It's supposedly only used twice. They're like brand spanking new. But there's just some really tiny pinholes in the rain fly, which is not good because it's supposed to keep the rain off us. And we did feel a little bit of wetness the other night when it rained the whole night. So we need to figure that out. And as you saw yesterday, one of Greg's trekking poles broke. So we need to try to contact Lucky and get that going, see if we can get a new one before we start the CT. And this is why you do a shakedown hike, so you can experience these things and figure them out, hopefully, before you do your thru hike. So it is helpful to us, even though it's a pain discovering these little problems. The old school bus. Yeah.
Take the first window or this one?
This one right here. So just 1, 2, 3.
All aboard the short bus.
Here we are at
Hickory
Knoll
Knoll Road, which is the beginning of the road walk to Franklin, which we're going to skip.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're road walking.
Nope, I'm waiting for a ride. Our friend Stephanie's going to pick us up.
Yep.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Evan, what do you think about the first half so far?
It's been great. Really like it. We didn't have the best weather, but the good part of the weather was really good. It was
Yep.
fun.
The company's a little off.
She's a hard interviewer.
You have no idea.
So
So-
this is Evan of Evan's Backpacking on YouTube, and also
Evan's backpacking videos.
thank you,
Mm-hmm.
and on Instagram.
Backpacker Comics.
Yep. And we did a Nero today from the Bartram Trail, and we're sitting here in our house. Just had a nice dinner,
Try not to be interviewed.
and we're not interviewing this. This is not an interview.
This will not be published.
You were talking about why I wanted to thru-hike.
Yes, but let's go back to why did you want to thru-hike?
It was
go back to your 20s.
Well, the physical challenge. And now that I'm in my 50s, the physical challenge is sort of like how I used to run marathons. But it seemed easier than that, but it was a lot harder. But when I was in my 20s, I backpacked around Europe. When I was 20, not in my 20s. And that was a fun experience, and I think that you should fill up your life with fun experiences like that. And it seemed like an opportunity to try it, to do it. And I thru-hiked some other trails that were shorter. The Benton Mackay Trail and the Sheltoi Trace, and why not the AT, which was much longer. I just didn't realize exactly how long it was. I mean, you can see on paper 2,200 miles or whatever, but what that really means you don't realize until you get to about the end of Virginia.
Were you daunted at all by how long the AT seemed when you were planning for it?
Not when I was planning for it, except when you see those maps, you know, that
That
like
go
you
to the
have in your
sky.
hostel.
You
You
are
are
here.
here in Franklin, and I just tried not to pay much attention to those.
Interesting.
So the planning wasn't daunting, but the actual implementation of the plan was pretty daunting once I get into it.
Mm-hmm. But you had already done a lot of hiking and camping and stuff, so you knew a lot about gear by that point.
Yeah, I'd done about 1,500 miles that I filmed myself doing on YouTube by the time that I started the AT.
So you were already comfortable with like your tarp setup and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was comfortable with the gear,
tell our viewers.
even though it was iconoclastic choices or odd choices of gear.
I think unique and smart choices.
For you.
Smart for me, not smart for everybody. But
Okay.
I mean, I'd always use trekking poles, but at some point I decided not to use trekking poles anymore. I always used trail runners and always had problems with blisters, and then I used to run in sandals, and it seems obvious to me now, but I had this light went off in my head. Why don't I try hiking with sandals? And I did that and liked it. I tested it out, and I used sandals on the Appalachian Trail, and then I use a tarp rather than a tent, and kind of eat low carb, which is another thing that
Yes.
people say you should never do.
So I'm very impressed with your eating plan on the AT, and it worked well for you, right?
Mm-hmm. I didn't lose too much weight, and I weigh less now than I did when I finished with the AT. And the thing that I was scared about was all the pictures you see of men who finish the Appalachian Trail who look just emaciated, and I didn't really know why that was happening to people, but I figured it might have something to do with your diet. I'm not really sure because I'm just one person, so it's a little bit anecdotal, but it worked. It did work for me.
And you didn't have any weight to lose. You
Yeah,
were
that's
fit
true.
already,
I didn't have a lot of weight to lose.
yeah.
I lost 5 pounds
Wow.
on the trip.
Okay. And you did add a little bit of carbs at the end, right?
Yeah, in Maine, when I didn't seem to have enough of an appetite, I started eating flour tortillas. And in town, I wasn't ketogenic. I was just low carb. I would eat definitely more carbs when I was in town, but I didn't eat bread, with a few exceptions. I didn't eat pasta or pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I did drink some beer now and then. like I'm doing right now.
Which you have to do sometimes.
Cheers.
Can you give us like just a brief example of a day on the trail, like what you ate, like for breakfast? And
Well, I don't really distinguish between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I just eat food, which seems kind of crazy to a lot of people, but tuna fish and Spam and cream cheese and regular cheese and nuts, dark chocolate.
70% or more.
Yes. And in town, lots of eggs and bacon when I could get it, and on top of hamburgers.
But you would never do like Spam for breakfast, right?
Yeah, and I ate a lot of Spam for
But
breakfast.
not for breakfast?
Sure.
Are you serious?
I think I've eaten Spam for breakfast on this trip that you're hiking with me on right now.
Oh my gosh.
I really don't start eating until lunchtime anyway.
Okay. Oh, you don't
Usually.
you don't have breakfast?
No, not really.
Huh. Interesting. But you have coffee. Like
Just-
a cold coffee.
Yeah.
That's why we never see you eat.
Yeah. He's like the stealth eater.
Instant coffee and cold water.
Nice.
But you can't really
So-
recommend other people
No.
do that sort of
No.
stuff. Sandals, no trekking poles, instant coffee and cold water.
No, those are very personal choices,
Yes.
but they work well for you.
They've worked well for me. I
And
made
you-
it all the way to the end.
finished the AT through hike, so congrats.
Thank you.
And tarp tinning with a bed of leaves as your mattress.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't use
no.
a sleeping pad. That's also very
Unusual
unusual.
in the hiking community.
Yes. But I was a Boy Scout in the 70s. We didn't have sleeping pads. We went on backpacking trips. And then I read that Ray Jardine, a guy who uses a tarp, used to camp a lot like I camp now. So, it's not really as unusual as people make it out to be, except if you watch YouTube videos and lots of people have kind of the same setup.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. And they're right, and I can be right. We can all be right.
Right on.
And tell us what you were talking about today with Earl Schaefer, how you heard what he did with his shoes.
Oh, yeah. So I use sandals, which is a zero drop kind of idea, just like the shoes,
Ultras.
just like Ultras,
Mhm.
which I used to use Ultras, but there's not a lot of a heel. And Earl Schaefer, I read his book, he said he cut the heel off of his hiking boot, which is a zero drop hiking boot. And he was doing that back in whenever it was that he did his thru hike in maybe the 40s.
And he was the first person to thru hike, right?
We've covered everything.
Oh, no, we haven't. So, so tell me about, okay, so let's try to make Evan blush.
No,
Evan is so multi-talented.
I didn't think that you had it in you, John, to try to make me blush.
Okay, so you were a lawyer for most of your career,
I still am.
and you still are. And you've written books. You draw comics
Hmm.
and sketches. You write music.
But see, I'm almost 57 years old. I mean, that's a long life. You can do lots of things.
Yes, but you
In a
do all
long
these
life.
things well.
Well, that's
And-
debatable, but yeah, I have a lot of hobbies.
Yeah, I think you're amazing.
Thank you.
And you hike your own way, which is good for you. It might not be good for everybody else, but who cares? Everybody needs to do what's right for them
Hike your
in
own
this
hike.
world.
Exactly.
No, hike your own hike. Evan is also the artist of the t-shirt we just did, Hike Your Own Hike. So there you go. Well, we are very excited that you are hiking the Bartram Trail with us, and it's been a lot of hard work, but it's also been fun.
It's been a great time.
It's been cool to be hikers again, right? Dirty
I
and
think so.
stinky and wet, and
I'm really in awe of you all who are about to go hike the Colorado Trail.
we're very
And
excited about that.
this Bartram Trail is my big hike for the year, but this is just a little warm up for you all, so that's really cool.
Oh, so what other thru hikes do you have planned for the future?
Well, I once hiked the Bent Mackay Trail, and I did videos, and the videos were all right, but I'd kind of, the cameras were older back then. I'd kind of like to do that one over and do a whole, if I'm doing YouTube videos, do a whole series on the Bent Mackay Trail again. That would be fun. I was going to do the Tahoe Room Trail this year and change my plans because of coronavirus, and the Colorado Trail. So I guess those are the next 3 if I actually continue hiking, because I probably will, but you know, gotta leave it open and
Exactly.
have a little bit of drama, a little bit of anticipation.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us in this little mini interview that's really not recorded at all.
Hope not. You're holding a phone in my face, but I hope it's not actually recording.